Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about all sorts of gear, so stick around. Thanks for sticking around, guys. If this is your first time joining me, welcome to Aeetos Outdoors. My name is David. This is my channel. It is all about my journey into the outdoors. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please click the subscribe button down here and consider turning on notifications to be notified when I post new videos. Right, with that out of the way, let's get into it. So we're going to talk about gear. More specifically, we're going to talk about gear that I took with me on a recent 2-day, 2-night adventure to a cabin in the woods. So there is a cabin in the woods relatively close to where I am. So the cabin is kind of difficult to get to. It's about an hour and a half away. The road is an old logging road that's not in use anymore, so it's pretty beaten up, washed out. There is also no guarantee that there wouldn't be other people at this cabin. So I had to take gear planned as if we were going to stay in the cabin, but also back up if we ended up camping. Not only that, but the forecast, so we went on Friday and came back on Sunday. The forecast for Friday was pretty much constant rain, whereas the forecast for Saturday was sun. Temperatures over the 2 days, in the evenings and at night, it dropped down to about 0 degrees C. Which is about 30 Fahrenheit, I think, 32 Fahrenheit kind of thing. So I also had to plan for cold and wet, and slightly not wet, but still cold. So I had to kind of pack a little heavy for this. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to talk you through all of the gear that I took with me. So first and foremost, as I was hoping to be able to capture some footage and some stills and film some content while I was out there, I took my camera gear. So this is a new camera bag I got. I bought it secondhand from a buddy here in town. I took my Joby GorillaPod tripod for my camera, which I'm filming on right now. I took my smaller version of that as well to use with my cell phone. This actually got a lot more use than this other tripod. And then I have my microphones and things in here. But camera gear, I took that with me in the hope that I could capture some content, and I did manage to do that. I also took the tarp you can see behind me. I'm just drying and airing it out. So I took that tarp, that's an AquaQuest 10x10 tarp, and it was an absolute lifesaver. We strung it up outside the cabin and it provided us a nice shelter. The cabin did have a fire inside, like a steel or an iron or a metal fire box. Can't think of words right now, but it had like a cast iron fire inside, but it was super smoky. I think the chimney was a little bit blocked. So we actually, that first night, we put the tarp up and had a fire outside. So the tarp behind me came in great use, and I brought that along in this bag, which also had a nice warm jumper in. It looks like wool, but it's not. It's a sort of poly blend, but this came in clutch. This was great for during the day. It's a bit thick and heavy at night, so this was a daytime jumper. I took my buff with me, which this was great as well. At night, I could put it on sort of on my head if I didn't want to have a toucan, and during the day, this just went sort of around my neck, just to keep me warm. The buff was a great piece of kit. I also have my first aid kit, which luckily we didn't need. Well, we didn't need because I thought I had forgotten it. My buddy did cut his finger when he was prepping some wood. He cut the tip of his finger, but luckily he had a first aid kit, so we used that. This, as I didn't think we had it, this didn't get much use, but it's great to have. And I will do another video on this because it's pretty well packed. Now, I took some swim shorts with me, which I think was a bit ambitious because during the day, I think the temperature peaked around 10 degrees C. The water at the lake where the cabin was pretty cold. One of my buddies did go for a swim, and while I'm talking about this, I may put that video over the top of this just so you can certainly see his reaction from the water. But I didn't go for a swim while I was there.
Oh my god, that's cool as boys.
And then last up in here, I have my my ridge line and my guy lines and things for my tarp, which did get a lot of use, as I said. Okay, so on to the bag. So I took my Osprey Kestrel 48. That is the one backpack I own apart from that small little day pack, and I absolutely love this bag. It's comfy, it's big enough to fit everything I need, but small enough that I don't overpack. So the Osprey Kestrel 48 has been my go-to and also my only backpack for the last couple of years. So on the outside of the backpack, I had my bear spray as a just in case. Luckily, we didn't need to use that. I also took my, well, let's see. I took some gloves with me for splitting to wear while splitting wood and playing with fire and things. I didn't actually end up using these. Did get a fair few splinters and sort of hangnails and things, but so I should have worn these, brought them with me, but didn't end up using them. So just a tiny little bit more about the cabin. The cabin is a very, very short walk from the logging road where we are able to park. My buddy took his truck, so we didn't have to worry too much about weight. So I did bring more stuff than I probably would have if I had to camp and walk or hike this in. One thing that this allowed was for us to bring our own, or to bring a lot of water. So we bought 10 litres of water between us, and then my buddy came and joined, and he brought an additional 4, I think. So we had plenty of water. The car was just a short distance away if we did have any issues, and we were able to leave a lot of stuff in the car if we needed to. As a backup, I bought my Sawyer Squeeze and my Ceenoc water bladder. So this was just in case anything happened to our water, or if we ended up needing more than we had. We could have filtered from the lake. There was also a creek just down from the cabin, so we could have filtered from that as well. And with the rain that we had on the Friday night, well, on Friday and into the night, that creek was running pretty high, so we would have had some beautiful water there if we needed it. Going with the Sawyer water filter, I also bring my smart water bottle, which is what I fill up from the filter most of the time. And my cook kit. So I have my Tokes titanium 750 pot, and then my, I think, 350 cup. And the water bottle sits and nests inside these, so I always have these on the outside of my pack in one of the side pockets. On the other side pocket, as we were planning to have a fire and we did know there was a wood stove in the cabin, I brought my axe. This is my Schrade axe. This got a fair bit of use for splitting the wood we had. We did bring a lot of pre-split firewood, like these firewood bundles that you can get locally. And we are so glad we did. All of the wood around was wet, was soaked, and the area is pretty high. It's pretty high traffic for a cabin that's in the middle of nowhere that we thought a lot of people don't know about. So all of the wood that's around has been pretty well scavenged. So bringing our own firewood, again, it wasn't an issue because we camped the cabin was very close to the truck. So we were able to do that. We were able to bring in our own wood, and the firewood really helped. Certainly the first night it was very cold, and even though the stove inside was a little, wasn't great, we did make good use of that and regularly smoked out the cabin when we were adding fuel to the fire. So that's everything on the outside. Just in the brain, I did bring a couple of games, or a game rather, called Dungeon Mayhem that we didn't end up playing. So Steve, I'm very sorry we didn't end up playing this. But it's a great little game. Doesn't take much. Very easy to pick up. I also had some trail mix in here, which again I kind of forgot about and didn't end up eating. So I have now a snack for next time. So the last thing that I had on the outside of my pack was these, I think, knockoff Crocs that I got hold of. I think they were lost and found where I work. I take my hiking boot, I wear my hiking boots, and they're just a bit of a pain to get on and off during the night. So I bought these if I did need to go out in the middle of the night and use the facilities, which I did. So these came in really handy. Okay, that's the outside. Let's go on to the inside. Now, I sort of compartmentalize everything, and I pack everything into dry bags. Especially with the weather on Friday, I was worried that if we were camping, everything was going to get soaked. So I packed everything I have into dry bags, which I find just helps me. I try to pack the same stuff into the same bags, or at least the same categories into the same bags, so I know what's what. So in this one, we have, so these Coughlin's mosquito coils. I hate mosquitoes. I react pretty poorly to them. I don't have the willpower to not itch mosquito bites, so I will always bring these with me wherever I go. And I also have Afterbite in my first aid kit and in my hygiene kit as well as a backup. But these mosquito coils are awesome. I don't know if you can see here, but basically you just light the end of them, blow them out, and they last ages, and they keep bugs away. So I absolutely swear by these. If you are someone that hates mosquitoes like I do, get some of these and you'll never look back. So Coughlin's mosquito coils. I have a little baggie here of coffee. It had hot chocolate in and some additional sugar packets, just in case we did end up going exploring and I needed some extra sugar. I can't function without coffee in the morning, so this was absolutely necessary. So for my cook kit, I bought my MSR pocket rocket, and this was the gas canister that I used for it. It's off-brand, but it did the job. I think this was not 100% full. It is probably about half full now, and I used it maybe half a dozen times. So the pocket rocket is a great stove. I recently did a cook kit video, which I will link up here. So you can click that link if you want to see the cook kit video. But this was super handy. We did try boiling, we in fact tried cooking, my buddy tried cooking steak on a pan on top of the stove in the cabin. It didn't get hot enough, and we had to relocate outside, build a fire out there under the tarp. And I don't think we could have used the pocket rocket for cooking on, because it's just too intense a flame, too intense heat. However, it does boil water in like 3.5 minutes, so it's great for hot chocolates or boiling the bag, rehydrating meals, and that's what I had for food. And you will see that in a minute. What else have we got in here? We have my Sea to Summit spork. I brought backpacking meals. This was great. Great for stirring coffee. I mean, it's a spork. It is what it is. I brought my fire starting kit, which we didn't actually need in the end. I had a couple of big lighters with me. But in here I have some stormproof matches, I have a ferro rod, I have some old school matches. I put a couple of the desiccant packets from my food in here just to keep things dry. I have some jute twine, and then I have some little mini fire starter logs in there too. Hygiene kit, toothbrush, toothpaste, Afterbite, lip balm, polysporin. I have the O-ring for my water filter in here. I have some sunscreen and Afterbite, as I said. What else? Snackies, didn't end up eating them, kind of disappointed, but that means I can eat them. I can eat them now I'm home. I bought a little sponge for cleaning my pots if I did use them, but I only use them to boil water. And then chocolate-covered pretzels. These are my crack. I absolutely love these. These are so addictive, but so good. Didn't end up eating them. And my last Mountain House, as I said, we're there for 2 nights. I brought 2 sets of, not Mountain House, Alpine Air, of freeze-dried, boil in the bag, or rehydrated food, dehydrated food that you just add water to. Wow, words. So I didn't end up eating this one. This is the Thai-style chicken with noodles. I think I have had this before. It's really good. The one I did eat, I will have done a review for that may have come out before this video. So you can check that out if you want to. Spoilers, well, just watch the video. But I'm sure you can see by my face how delighted I was with that food. And that's everything that was in the food bag. Okay, next up, separate dry bag, a little smaller. This one had my Lucci rechargeable or solar-powered lantern. This was great. Once it got dark, we just hung this up in the cabin, turned it on its lowest setting. It just provided a little bit of light. And when we were cooking outside the second day, we had this out there as well, just as a little bit of an additional illumination. I absolutely love this, and this is I got this over a year ago, and I have used this so much, and I've never. I put it in the sun when I can, when I remember, and it has never run out on me yet. MSR Pocket Rocket Stove, already talked about that. Spare batteries for my headlamp, and I also took my Olight SR2 baton flashlight with me. This is the USB charger for that, and the reason that I have a USB charger is because I brought my Anker 20,000 amp power, or 20,000 milliamp power bank with me. This is a beast. I got this years ago. It's huge. I can probably slim it down, and it's not Anker, it's Orky. Wow, I've been lying so much. It's Orky. It's a huge brick, but it is great. This normally charges my phone like 4 times, so this has been an absolute beast. I did use it to charge my phone. My buddy used it to charge his phone, and it's gone down about half. So iPhones do suck a lot of power out of these, but it's a great piece of kit. Maybe I can slim it down to a smaller version at some point soon. Okay, next up. Well, actually, as I mentioned, my headlamp, I do still have that on the outside of my pack. I had it in the hip pocket, so I'll just pull that out. So this is the Black Diamond Spot 325. Again, this is a fantastic piece of kit. I love it. It's got a focused beam, it's got a floodlight, it's got a red light, and it takes 3 AAA batteries, and I have not had to replace them yet. And this was great. Right, this has got some clothing and stuff in. So I have, I'm in Canada, so of course I have to have plaid. This is from Outdoor Research, I think. I absolutely love this shirt. It's very, very warm, and it just went on as an additional layer. I had a sort of wicking base layer as my t-shirt. I had this over the top. I had the green sort of blend jumper, and I also had my Arc'teryx rain jacket, which is currently hung up. I'm trying to air it out. It stinks of campfire right now. So if anyone has any tips on how to clean or wash Arc'teryx jackets, please pop them down below, because mine definitely needs a wash. But I had my plaid shirt. I also had some smart wool socks. I only wore these at night, and they kept my feet beautiful and toasty. So they were great. I finally got to test out my base layers. So a while back, I did a video of some merino wool base layers, and I'll link that up here. But with the video, well, since doing that, was a sort of first look. Since doing that, I haven't had the need to wear these outside. They actually became my default pajamas, and they were so comfortable, so warm, yet so breathable. So they became my default pajamas, and I wore them nearly every night for I don't know how long. This was the first time I took them out, and I brought them specifically because I knew it was going to be so cold. So to sleep in, I had these. I think the first night I put the shirt on as well. The second night, instead of the shirt, I put a fleece on, but it didn't get quite as cold the second night. These came, I am so glad. I would say MVP of the whole trip would probably be these. They kept me super toasty, super warm, didn't even have to worry. A toque, I wore this in the evenings, and I slept in it a little bit. The cabin that we were in, as I said, it got really smoky if we opened the door of the stove to redo the fire. Where we were sleeping, there's a little loft bed, and so we slept up there, and we all arranged to have our heads next to the window in case it did get smoky, but also to get a bit of a breeze if needed, if we got too hot. And it was a sliding window, so we could close it if we needed to. We didn't need to close it in the end, but it did provide a nice breeze, and this just kept my head from getting too cold. I mean, it's a hat, that's what hats do, right? Lastly, I have one of my pillows in here. This is the Trekology Luft, and then in my sleep kit, which we're going to come on to now, I have my other pillow. I trapped a nerve in my neck a few days before going on this trip, and so my sleep wasn't great. I really struggled to get comfortable. Normally at home, I'm a front sleeper and kind of sleep on my arm like this or like this. So I actually really struggled to find a decent pillow, and I'm still looking for a good backpacking camping pillow. If anyone has any suggestions, please put them down below. But the Trekology Luft, it's great if I'm sleeping on my back, which isn't something I normally sleep on. But when kind of forced to, like this, I brought this, and it did help a little bit. The other pillow that I have is this Aeetos Headtrip. It's much bigger, as you can see. It's a sort of self-inflating one. It does have some foam and stuff to it. And I used this with my schmog over the top of it. I thought this would better copy the pillow I have at home. Again, wasn't great, but I think I have some more trial and error with my sleep system, certainly. Nebo Tensor insulated regular wide. Used this to sleep on. It's super comfy, kept me super warm, and I love it. This is probably my second MVP. So first MVP was my merino wool base layers. Second MVP was my Nebo sleeping pad, and I love this. My schmog, I put this over the top of my pillow just for a different feel. It feels a little bit nicer. That was great. I brought gloves as a just in case. It didn't get cold enough for me to need them. When we were sleeping, I probably should have used them at night before we went to bed, just to keep my hands warm, but I didn't. So I had these with me but didn't use them. And lastly, I have my Mountain House Extreme Lightweight Down sleeping bag. I took this because I normally use a jungle blanket because I sleep hot, but I didn't think that would be warm enough. This says it has a comfort rating down to, let's see here, comfort temperature 7 degrees C to 2 degrees C, so 45 to 36 Fahrenheit. So we probably got a little bit below the comfort rating with this. However, I'm really glad I took this. I actually unzipped it. So this is a mummy bag, and I cannot sleep in like on my back in a mummy bag. In fact, with the additional COVID weight I've put on, I kind of struggled to actually, I could get into this, but when I got my arms in and zipped it up, I had no room for movement at all. I was bound. So I unzipped this and slept with it like like you would with a backpacking quilt. So I flipped it upside down. I had the open side on my pad, and then the rest over the top. So I could actually pull the hood up over the top. So when it got really cold, the first morning we were there, after the first night, I used I pulled this right up over the top, had a little hole to breathe through, but it kept me nice and toasty. But I'm glad that I took this out, and I know that it does work sort of around the temperatures that I took it to. And then lastly, in my bag, because I was kind of ambitious and thought I was going to go swimming, I have my microfiber towel set with me, but this didn't get any use. And the very last thing, on the outside of my pack here, I brought my Helinox Chair 1 with me. I actually filmed a review of this while I was out there, so that may have come before this or may have come after. If it came before, I'll link it up here, and if it hasn't come out yet, then you'll have to keep watching my channel to see a review of this. This was third MVP. There were a couple of chairs there, but I love this. It's just a super comfy little chair, doesn't take up much room. This was a great piece of kit, and I'm definitely taking it. This is probably going to be my luxury item that I take with me on all of my trips. So that's it. That's all the gear I took. Again, it was a 2-day, 2-night cabin stay on a lake in the Pacific Northwest, so around Tofino. Well, I don't need to be so coy. Around Tofino, where I live, and it was awesome. It was great to just disconnect for a couple of days. It was the first trip of the season, so super pumped by that. The rain was a bit of a bummer, but it did make for some great photos, which I might do a montage now, or I will have interspersed them throughout this video. I haven't decided yet. But it was a great trip. One of my buddies is a photographer. He actually sold me the camera that I'm filming this on. So having him there, I was able to pick his brain about some photography things. So that was great. And again, just that disconnect, that getting out into the wilderness, just the peace, the tranquility, the quiet, everything. So it definitely filled a hole. It topped up my wilderness quota, I guess, and just kind of reinvigorated me for hiking. So reinvigorated me for getting out into the backcountry and exploring and everything. So I'm really, really glad that we did it, and I'm really looking forward to all the trips that I have from this point forward. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching, guys. Comment down below. Let me know how you feel about this video. Do you enjoy it? Do you like this type of video? If not, what kind of videos do you want to see from me? If you haven't subscribed already and you've made it this far, bloody well done. But please click the subscribe button down here. And with all of that out of the way, I wish you all the best, and I hope I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.